Where do real-world skills meet virtual stardust? This talk dives into how professional life shapes Eve's universe, blurring the line between the careers we build out here and the ones we command in there. Please welcome Z31 Bravo to the stage.
G'day everyone, welcome. Thanks mate. I can see there's a few of you here. Thanks for coming. I know Killmail's on and that would have been a super one to go to, but here we are and we're all together. All right, what we'll cover today, first we'll go through some disclaimers. Yep, over there. Disclaimers, who I am and why I'm here. Definitions of leadership. Leadership versus management, really important one. The three main types of leadership in application. There might be some people in the crowd that might say, there's a few more in the new age sort of world of leadership, transactional and whatnot. But if you boil it down to Bruce Bates leadership, it's based on three. Cornerstones of an effective leader, and we'll talk a little bit more as to why there's no such thing as a good leader and a bad leader. Leader growth mindset, and we'll touch on how we can increase people's drive towards positions of leadership. And how my corp and my alliance approach leadership development. And then we'll finish up, and then we'll get on the beers. Yes. Yeah. All right, who am I and why am I here? My name, wait a second, sorry. Which one? No, yeah, that's cool, sorry. Disclaimers and housekeeping, all right. As you can see by the top one, I sometimes swear it's not a medical condition, I am Australian, okay? It's how we project ourselves. Is anybody colourblind or legally deaf in here? No, there's another word, all right. If you are, you can approach me later on and I can give you a copy of this and you can do some weird stuff to it and you can read it. The purpose of this is to ignite conversation, okay? I am the last player presenter and I'm a big fan of a semi sort of interactive crowd, okay? I don't want you sitting there and just sort of nodding and going, oh yeah. However, if you're feeling a little bit dusty from last night's shenanigans, please feel free to have a little power nap because I know there's a few dusty people out there at the moment. Yeah, you can heckle, support. Remember, I'm Jimmy Carr, I've got the mic. All right, there will be time for questions at the end, all right? Okay, who am I and why am I here? All right, my name's Z31 Bravo, okay? I come from a primarily military background, 23 years across 2 services, okay? I've also done some advisory roles to government in security and emergency coordination. I've done some coaching and mentoringship at a doctorate level, so people who are going for their doctorates in management, I advise them and provide a bit of a sounding board of like they come out with an idea and some of the kids out there come out with some pretty wild ideas. My first Eve encounter was back in 2010. I played it for approximately 6 months, sort of realised I didn't know what was going on. Around about between 2018 and 2020, I sort of started to take it up a bit. I think it works off a bit of a maturity and life experience kind of thing. My main skills is finding new and inventive ways of dying. Yeah, confirm. My CEO's here, can confirm. Yep, cheers mate. And my personal reasons for presenting. So when the call went out, I went to last year's Fanfest here, and I was fascinated by the people. You have a large portion of the Eve populace, I would arguably say around the 75th percentile are neurodivergent people, okay? We're on a spectrum somewhere, okay? You need to be a bit different to play Eve. All those people decided to challenge all their personal fears, get on a tube of some description with a whole lot of other strangers, go to the top of the world, that's either covered in ice or covered in fire, and turn to these social butterflies, okay? And I personally think that's one of the fantastic things to see about Eve, okay? So the call went out and they said, Eve presenters. My approach was a little bit topsy-turvy to everybody else. All these other people were getting up there saying, I've used Eve experience to incorporate in my IRL. Or this is the best way to fit this. This is the best way to challenge this norm from Eve. Let's do this to try and flip the narrative on CCP. And I thought, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to try and give some of my personal experience to transfer into Eve, okay? And coming around that leadership and management role, it's a bit of a niche. And it's sort of, when I thought about it for a bit, I actually started to do a bit of a deep dive on leadership within Eve. Now, you have a look at leadership, and have a look at it out in the corporate sort of environment, okay? Most leadership positions are encouraged by a thing, okay? So whether it's a super high paying job that will fund X, Y, Z, or you look at pro sports teams. There's glory, there's ego, there's pump, there's I'm the best at this, I'm the best at that. And then you've got this, all right? So now, not only do you have to take on a leadership position, you also have to keep a group of people incentivised to do the thing that you want to do, but they're also paying money to do it. So the first thing to think about that is the player base can be fickle, but they are fickle because they're paying what we could arguably say real currency for this experience. So your leadership and the way that you inspire and lead people, the neurodivergent people now need to take up the throne to be able to do that. And me personally, in my experience, that's next level leadership, all right? And the thing you've got to look at as a whole of Eve, what's the most important thing at Eve? What's the most valuable asset? What's the most tangible thing in Eve? That's, friends, trust, trust, I don't know about that one. But it's you. It's literally the pilots. It's you, it's the community. Because no matter how much plex you got, how many updates we've got, how many ways we can keep people engaged, the end thing is people. If we don't have people, you don't have pilots, you don't have corps, you don't have alliances. So it adds a big dynamic to it, okay? It can't be emphasised enough that without any form of leadership, the game would fall apart, really. Like you look at the solo people, there are solo people out there that like to do the nomad thing, and I never trash anybody else's play style, but to me personally, that goes against my moral compass, my wants, my needs. Being a solo person, it just doesn't work, okay? And it goes against our makeup, okay? We're social primates. That's what we are. A lot of history doesn't tell from different cultures how one person went out and built a pyramid or built a stick or prayed to a flying spaghetti monster, okay? Those things didn't take off the ground until we got a group of people together. We have to organise the group. We have to take care of the young. We have to feed ourselves. We have to water ourselves. And if you look through history, it's our social organisation which has pushed our technology drive, okay? Together, apes strong, yeah? So mostly, since there's been more followers than leaders, we learn to follow things, Eve, Taylor Swift, music people, sports stars, we come together as groups, yep? You can be in a room like this and someone will, Amar's the way to go, Mimitar, you're all shit. And everybody in Amar will automatically cling together, regardless of their knowledge of each other, okay? Make sure that's right. Yeah, right. All right, what are the definitions of leadership? I've got a couple up here. I'll explain them to you. It's not an exhaustible list, okay? There's many different experiences and encounters that shape people's definitions of leadership. So you could sit around, and if I asked every single person in this room what their definition of leadership is, they'd all sound the same, but most of them would have their own sort of spin on it. Right, so the Oxford definition: the actions of a leader of leading a group of people or an organisation. Cambridge: the persons or people in charge of an organisation. All right, Australian Defence Force, I was heavily involved in that. The art of positively influencing others to get a job. I start to think now we're starting to get a little bit more niche about what sort of leadership styles get the most out of people. And then mine personally, guiding and inspiring others toward a shared vision or goal. Because you need to have a shared vision or goal. You need to have a shared want and or need. Because if you don't have that, what is it? You want to throw a guess? Kind of. It's pretty much slaves. They'll just do whatever they want, yeah? Like Taylor Swift fans, you know? They'll just do whatever she tells them to. Okay, leadership versus management. Two very, very different creatures. And I would challenge anybody on any day of the week to argue this point, okay? Leadership, when the going is challenging, when you find yourself in a crisis, the team needs to be led, not managed, okay? If you have a look at your stock standard store, there'll be a store manager and there'll be a floor manager, okay? Most people would think that comes from a point of view of if we have more leaders, we can all work through a hierarchical structure, but it's more of a case of the person up the back that's doing the managing is working numbers, goods, things like that, all these things that are non-interactive, and then you have the leader. The leader's the one that's doing all the leading. Management is more of the mind. It's a science of administration and coordination, okay? Geez, I'm not that bad. You don't have to leave already. It concerns acquisition, allocation, control of resources to achieve objectives, okay? Lead too much with little standards and you risk chaos and just anarchy, all right? Manage too much, what do you reckon happens? What do you reckon? People lose their goal, people lose their identity, people lose their connection, okay? So you could arguably say FC versus Indie Coord. Yep. So the way that you acquire things, it's very impersonal, yep. You go out, you get the things. I get the ore, I get the gas, I get the minerals, I build the ship, and then I give it off to the next group. They get drunk, scream, FC has a wobbler, and you fly it in, land at zero and die. So in that example there, you can see the impersonal and the personal connections there. There are three main types of leadership. As I said before, there are a couple of different spins on it. Has anyone sort of done any formal sort of training on leadership? Everyone should put their hand up. At every step of your life at one stage, you have been led. I can tell you as a parent, you have been managed. Sometimes with great success, often not. But you have all had some form of training. If you've been military, first responders, police, ambulance, fire, that goes without saying. You have been led and you have been given the tools in your toolbox how to lead, okay? If you have worked at a store, you've worked in any human-facing role, whether it's HR, stores, anything where you need to talk to another human being, you've had some form of leadership training, and this is the part where it gets interesting, whether you realised it or not. Don't forget, at our base level, we are primates. And what do monkeys do? Besides throwing poo. Monkey see, monkey do, okay? So you've had some interaction with leadership. You've seen what works and what doesn't. And remember, it's not you're a good leader or a bad leader, you're an effective one or you are a non-effective one. So the three main types that came out in the late 60s, this is them. The autocratic. The main advantage of an autocratic leader is streamlined work that improves efficiency and productivity. They create firm deadlines and have very clear set of expectations. This is ideal in time of crisis or when last-minute decisions are needed. Their leadership style allows for fewer misunderstandings as directions are passed down, great for crisis and/or decisive action. Autocratic, you will. So a really good example of that, what do we reckon? In Eve. Starts with F, ends in C. Yep. When you're in a fleet, when you're in a sort of stock standard PvP fleet, the FC is not going to sit down. I don't want to use you, Weasel, as an example. Don't sit down and go, hey, yeah, no, what do you want to do? You know, you've got an objective, you've got clear set parameters, whether that is to, we want to go in, we want to blap as much as we can, get out, ISK positive, roll, let Reddit do its thing, and we'll just stomp that E high for the next week, okay? Or get in this, we're going to roll, leave your pods at home, we're not coming back. Even though it's going to be borderline set chaos, there's a clear, defined message there. We're going to die, okay? Then we look at democratic. The advantage of democratic leadership is the boundless creativity of an entire group. Allows for open discussions of issues and solutions. Team unity generally grows as a result of democratic leadership around about. The environment can make an employee and/or a fleet member feel appreciated, accomplished, and important. Those three things really need to take away from that. Important to the success of the organisation. Common politics such as gossiping, cliques, manipulation, they become much less prevalent because people are starting to feel important, recognised, and a valued member of the team. The end result is, in Eve, an improved gaming experience and lower corp and alliance turnover. A lot of people come to Fanfest and they're just an F1 monkey. We see them, we see their ticker, we see their profile pic, and that's like, it's a management thing, yeah? When you actually look at it and you're looking at all your fleet compositions and all that, it's a management thing, really, when you look at it. When you go to Fanfest and you meet that person, there's an emotive connection. So that person then becomes a little bit more significant and they feel a little bit more significant. Then you've got laissez-faire, and this is what I call the slippery gypsy. The advantage of laissez-faire leadership is the freedom to operate without restrictions or interfering from management. This gives skilled and self-motivated people a chance to reach their full potential. What do we see an issue there with that style of leadership? What do people generally do? Sorry? Lazy. Lazy is a bit of a dirty word. People are very economical with their energy. Yep. Winston Churchill said, if you want the quickest battle plan formed, you get a lazy man to do it. because they will find what I call the route of electricity. Yep, the path of least resistance. Laissez-faire is great for it, okay? But you've got to be careful if you have identified the people that you do want to do it and the people that you don't want to do it. So as a broad overstructure, if you're in an alliance and you have the one guy that lazy, takes the path of least resistance, he would probably be more beneficial in, say, an autocratic role, because he needs direction. He or she needs direction. Whereas the person who is a self-starter, motivator, can work as part of a team or on an individual basis to benefit the team, fantastic down there. People like me, I work best between these two. Because sometimes I'll see squirrel and I'll be like, woo. So that's where autocratic comes into it. But I'm a dreamer. I come up with some wild ideas, and that's what Eve's about, yeah? Putting rails on Brutixes, why not? Ask questions. Let's get together in a bit of a melting pot and sort of click on that and say, hey, what's going on up there? Can we do this? Can we do that? Okay? So FCs, great. I work really, really well, autocratic. You will. Fleet warp. Oh, I was going to say, don't jump. I was like, He said jump, yeah. A really good one, new bro instruction, okay? New bro instruction is really important, because the thing that you need to take away from this is just because you move through these three fields, you can take each one of those styles and make it your own. Autocratic is not just one person telling a person what to do. You can put spin on it and make it sound like it's a cooperative thing, but really it's just you telling, it's a new bro, and he's like, all right, I'm going to do this. And you're like, no, what do you think? Maybe we should do it this way, And they go, oh, yeah, I suppose. It's not democratic, it's autocratic, all right? Because you're looking, you're leading. That's almost a mentoring role, okay? You're giving them the little golden nuggets to find their way along the path. All right, democratic. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about democratic? Hey, have you done this before? You start to see there's a shift of a power balance, okay? When the leader is on the top, he's autocratic. He's the general. She's the queen, that kind of thing. When you start coming to democratic, that's when the power balance starts to bring down. That's when your leader is starting to say, I can identify the value out of certain members. So I'm going to bring my power level down, because nobody wants to go to the scary person up the front and say, I reckon we got the wrong fit, FC, after the FC spent the previous 60 minutes trying to herd cats, get eyes on, trying to get more than one Logie, ask why there's a guy in a Rorqual, all that kind of stuff. So it sort of works, it's very situational, okay? So democratic, arguably, diplos and alliance leaders, arguably. So they need to have that, particularly up here with the diplos, they need to have that democratic leadership style. They need to have that democratic interaction with other people, okay? Yeah, no comment. I tried to find the best sort of prevalent examples, but being a little bit, I don't know about that. And SIG leaders and alliance affairs, okay? When you think about that, when you're, like everyone now will go back to the cooking pot, the fit kitchen, and there'll be the bigwigs in the top of your SIGs and at the top of your alliance that will now get together and start cooking, all right? That is very, very democratic. And they'll even do it with their line members, okay? So your Chad PVPers and all that, they'll get them to the table and go, what are your thoughts? We're going to build something. Now you got laissez-faire. The task is mic drop and walk away. It's very, very common in your shipbuilders and your industrial providers. They just get given a task, yep. So now everyone's going to be doing a mad rush. Alliance leader is going to say to all their people, Angel LP, go. That's it. And people could confuse that for autocratic, but it's not. It's laissez-faire. You have no oversight. No oversight at all. You're just going to go out to the people that you know can do the right job and say, this is a task. I need you to get it done. And they'll go, yep, too easy. Usually the people that aren't fans of human interaction, you know, they're quite self-motivated, they're self-starters, and they have a view. And if you have a look, transfer of power goes down, okay? Overall view and scope of what needs and wants are of your organisation being an alliance gets narrower as you go to the top, okay? I'm up here. I'm an F1 squirrel. Why are we doing it? Who cares? Kill me off. That's it. We're off. Whereas down here, those people that are usually that work best in that laissez-faire environment, they've got like the other CCP 22-year plan. They know what it is, you know. This is what we're doing. I don't need context. I've already got the context. I know what I have to do. I know when I have to do it. So off they go. What makes an effective leader? Again, this list is non-exhaustible, okay? Everyone's had their own interactions with an effective leader and a non-effective leader, because through the learning process I spoke about before, because we're just like hairless monkeys, we see what the other monkeys do, and then we see what the other monkeys around them go and do. And if everyone's cool and there's no poo throwing, we go, oh, I might give that a go. Yep. Yeah, maybe I will. But then again, there's the poo throwing monkeys that need a little bit of a harder hand and a bit of a zap up the bum every now and again. But that works for them. Okay, a good leader possesses a combination of a lot of these things. Encouraging creativity. There's a couple of Care Bear statements where people might roll their eyes to this, but I tried to Care Bear vet the shit out of this. Okay, these are actually some like really important things. Asking for past experience. Sin will back me up on this one. In every leadership course, the first thing they say is, did you ask anybody if they had any past experience? Hands up, you've been playing the game for more than 10 years. What's that? Let's say that's 40 people. How many cumulative years experience is that? Well, not all at once. You know, it's a lot, yeah? Asking people, have you done this before? You got your big girl or your big boy or your big whatever pants on, you're ready to go in and tackle a thingo and you've got your plan. You're like, okay, I'm going to do this. I want to achieve this. And then I'm going to do that. Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Needless to say, you get around your first speed hump and then everything turns into a shit sandwich. Could have been avoided if you asked everybody if they had any experience. Collaborative talk. So collaborative talk really comes back to that middle part, yeah? Maybe having to sit down and talk with other people, you know, trying to find out. That's that part where you actually start to ascertain where your people are. So instead of like the new bro walking in and you go, you're going to be a great indie bro. And then you come back and he's like running around a mill and he's fucking zapping rocks and shit and you're like, yeah. You're like, fuck, shit. If you had the collaborative talk and actually found out where they were coming from, you could have avoided it. Buy-in. Does anyone not know what buy-in means? Yep. Oh, thanks, Weasel. So buy-in is that thing. That's that interaction. That's that want, that need to go on the same path as you. Yep. PvP fleets are easier with other people because part of that monkey thing, we want to be better. We want to be better than the hairless monkey next to us. And it's a friendly thing where we build each other up to the best versions we can be. Accountability good and bad. Praise in public, chastise in private. How many times have we seen that actually work out in Eve? I was going to put a clip in here of like a German FC here, but I'm pretty sure I would have got fucking canned and gone straight to Reddit. You know, I understand, you know, Eve's a thing, you know, we need to express our frustrations, but that's a hard thing about being a leader. That's so hard, and people don't understand it. Actually being an effective leader that people want to follow, holy shit, it's exhaustive. Your mute button on your mic, you know, that thing is just nearly worn out. Your cat's got PTSD in the fucking corner. Everything on your desk is nailed down by one of them little ID card zippy things because it's going to go flying off at Mark Jesus, but everyone sees you as, oh yeah, he's a really great guy. I really like going on fleets with him, you know, and then, so bad. So you got to give people credit because you know what? If you point somebody out in a fleet, not just, hey, Elijah, you kept us alive, yeah, great job. Or there's that new bro that came on the fleet and actually made it out and got like third highest damage. What do you think happens when you point that out? When you give that individual praise?
They get excited.
Like, yeah, please. Oh, no. Isk is fleeting, glory lasts forever. So, what do you think the other hairless monkeys subconsciously do? They go, oh, I want to be loved. Yeah, I want recognition. I want to be up there. I want to be like hey, cover me in appreciation.
I want love.
Yeah, you want to be loved. You want to be hugged. You want to be touched. You want your hair stroked at night, you know. That's a subconscious thing. That's a real thing that happens in our brain. It doesn't matter if you're some real awkward dude who stays away from the light and, you know, doesn't go on fleets because I don't like people. Fuck off, mate. You flew halfway around the world to be here. Like, he's not dead. You're playing it. You're still going to fucking play it. Doesn't matter what they said down there. You're still going to play it because of that human connection. And that filters down to recognition. You know, there was an experiment done in, I think it's about 1972. And it was a bunch of monkeys. They had monkeys in a cage. And the first monkey that went in the cage, every time he went near the food, he got blasted with high pressure water. Bang, shh. They did that for a couple of hours. They introduced a new monkey into the cage. Monkey went near the food. And the first monkey's like, oh, something's going to happen. I can't remember what. And then old Fireman Sam comes in and gives him 5 PSI hot water in the face. Third monkey gets in the cage, goes near the food. What do you think happens? 2 monkeys go apeshit and flog the shit out of the third one. That's real. That actually translates into human behaviour. So if you promote a place where if you do the right thing, you will get praised for it. And if you do a wrong thing, Australians have got this really effective communication method and it's called banter. A lot of people laugh about it, but it's true. Yeah, banter. Banter is so strong. Hey, bro, I saw when you used that short-range crystals on that Fort Bash, mate. You just spoke volumes. You spoke volumes. You didn't chastise them. If you really need to speak to that person, go and have a word. And instead of the first words coming out of your mouth is, you are fucking shit. You are shit. You should question why you're alive. Don't play my game. I know it's hard. Maybe ask them, hey, what was your thought process behind doing that thing? Take me through that. Because they then might identify that you as the FC, upon leaving or upon reaching your target, didn't actually specify what ammunition you wanted people to use. So where's the learning tip there? You know, so instead of telling them, the monkey, you're a piece of shit, here's the hose, it could actually be the hose handle that's the problem. I mean, it's a problem to begin with, but you know. So when you look at these things, they're really, really important. As I said before, it's not an exhaustible list. I tried to put the biggest broad stroke things I could put on this presentation, okay? And what does that all sort of look like? Not an Eve player, I know, but it's just being a human being. Yep. It's easy to tell people that they're shit when there's been no human interaction. So the people that you've met, whether it's your first Fanfest or it's your 13th Fanfest, when you get that human connection, it starts to mean something. You can imagine the person. You can imagine their reaction. Yeah? That's why that human connection element is so good. 9 times out of 10, those FCs that get their E hard on from screaming at people probably haven't met a lot of them. I'm not putting any names down. And they probably didn't get hugged enough by mum, but oh well, yeah, that'd be jobs. Which leads into our leadership growth mindset. It's amazing, isn't it? How much success, what people think it looks like and what it looks like is the same as Eve. Yep. At its core, growth mindset is about the belief that talents and abilities are not fixed. They're traits that can be accumulated over time through experience. Leaders with a growth mindset see challenges as opportunities to learn. These all have time caveats, okay? So when you're on a fleet, you're reinforcing something, maybe halfway through the bash is probably not a good time to sit down and go kumbaya. They thrive on continuous development and view setbacks as a natural part of the learning process. The mindset contrasts with a fixed one where individuals believe in their abilities. So they start to see all these things are coming together. The public recognition, seeing where your people are. Individuals believe their abilities are innate and unchangeable. Leaders adopting a growth mindset is crucial. I cannot focus on that enough. Crucial as it influences the approach to problem solving, decision making, and fostering a positive, organised culture. Who has not heard of the word culture? It's important. Goon Swarm went through a culture change. Culture change out of necessity. You can gauge your success about your changing culture, and it doesn't form an overlay with bad times or times where you experience pain and anguish. If you are ever evolving and ever changing, people want to be better. Your team gets good. You get kills. You get a Gucci trophy. You get your name up on the board. You get your heart on. You throw it around for a bit. You're like, yeah, that's me. That's me. The benefits of growth mindset for leaders: resilience in the face of challenges. Anyone ever at school, and there was that one person that was just good at everything. So good. They were great at sports. They were great with the opposite sex, or as many sexes there are. They were just the person that everybody spoke to, and they never cried, and they never got picked on. You know where they are now? Probably the opposite. Australian comedian did, I think it was an English one, about peaking too early, and it's really important. You need to have resilience. You need to make mistakes, a lot of mistakes. Continuous learning and adaptivity. If you can't get on board with that, then you probably haven't had a look at the ecosystem around you. Adaptability is the key to survival. How my corp and alliance approach leadership development. At an alliance level, we have a lot of programs where eventually you build up to a strat-op and you've got a backseater. The backseat is not there to, the backseat is pretty much, to sort of grab your shirt collar when you walk to the proverbial PowerPoint with a knife. But they build you up to it, okay? And part of that is making mistakes. You need to make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you won't learn. And then when the game time comes and you're doing your own strat-op and you encourage a mistake, what do you think happens? So bad, so bad. This is bad, everything's bad. Whereas if you've already got the skills on how to handle failure, you're like, it's all right, yeah, we've done this before. I remember sticking my fork in this PowerPoint before. We'll be right. We'll just do this, we'll pivot. And as a corp, assign ships in designated hangars for the sole purpose small gang ops for FCs. Or in a lot of alliances or corps, they call them throwaway ships, okay? They should be called small gang ops. It's the opportunity for you where you've had like maybe 2 or 3 more beers than you've had and you think, I can do this. And off you go. And then you start to make those mistakes, okay? And it works. You need to encourage failure. I cannot stress encouraging failure enough, okay? I've never trusted people who are just good at everything. Obviously, there's a backstory, you know, like there was that shooter at the Olympics. It was a Turkish guy. Yeah, how Chad was that dude? Yeah, everybody looks at him and the way the media portrayed him was a guy that just rocked up to the Olympics one day and was just like, hooper-dooper-doop, and started shooting. The dude had been shooting for like 30 years. Like, oh yeah, he got upset at his ex-wife. She took the dog. So he picked up a 22 and got to an Olympic level. Sorry, Luke Skywalker, it doesn't fucking work like that. The thing you don't see is all that hard work behind it. And you really need to fucking look at that. Never assume skill level. Almost every FC out there does it. And the monkeys are the, hey, what ammunition type should I be loading right now? As an FC, you need to go, smack your cat, key on your mic. Mate, we'll be doing this for this. Don't just tell them what to do, give them a reason why, give them some context. Because the next time they'll go, hey, I remember that when that really nice guy didn't have that adverse reaction, didn't smack his cat and throw his stubby at the wall, actually told me why we were doing it. Oh, I might be able to do that now. Actually encourage the reporting and consumption of AARs. Anyone not know what an AAR is? After action report. Honestly, do your AARs. Because out of your AARs, you can build up a thing of lessons learnt versus lessons identified, okay? A lesson identified is a shortfall. We identify a shortfall in 60% of our fleets. We've noticed there's been a downward trend in logi. That's a lesson learnt. A lesson identified. When it becomes a lesson learnt, that's when you have an increase in logi. I don't think there's ever been a time where that's been the case, but you know. All right, closing. Leadership versus management. Understand the difference. The constant role of self-improvement is really essential, all right? If you see something, if you see a shortfall, raise it, you know? If you see a new bro or a new sister or a new pilot, you know, encourage questions because that changes your situational awareness, all right? I'm not afraid of an army of lions led by a sheep. I'm afraid of an army of sheep led by a lion. Alexander Great. Quick rehash, just did some Chad shit. Chad shit. He was a firm believer in applicable leadership, all right? All right, that's pretty much the end of it. Anyone got any questions? Any questions at all? So everyone goes, I don't want to ask a question. You should ask questions. If you don't understand something, you should ask a question because, yes, questions. Because guarantee there's 6 other people in the room that have the same question. Yep. Oh, yeah, I do. See me after. I've got a Maine Coon. Big cat. Big cat. Any other ones? Yep. Which one? This one?
Leaders are born, they're not made. You can teach a good manager to ape many aspects of leadership, covering all the beautiful things you guys did.
Yeah.
I've watched the development of leadership culture
Yeah.
in the last 50 years. Mm-hmm. And I look at the world today and know that I'm right.
That's a really good point. That's a really, really good point. And you know what that is? That's 2 human beings having a discussion about why they believe a certain way. He believes I'm wrong based on what? His experience. I believe I'm right based on my experience. Yep. If I said to you right now, a clicker has 3 buttons on it, has a black front, it's got a red, a green, and a white button, what would you say? Say I'm wrong, wouldn't you? You say, no, you're wrong. If he said it's got just black on the back of it, I'd say, no, you're wrong. It's the same thing. we've just got two different viewpoints. I would challenge that by saying it is a generational thing. It's a generational thing. My personal belief is based around internet and how easy it is this day to tell somebody they're shit. Yeah, that's where I come from. But I respect your point of view because it's based on experience. So, anyone else? Any other questions? Come on, it's getting good. People are starting to think about this stuff now. No? Do I do a mic drop? Yep. Sorry? There's a mic, sorry mate, there's a mic over there. I've got industrial deafness, so that's why I talk loud. Like a guy with a horn.
No, that's totally fair. I'm really quiet. For your after-action reports, do you guys have a guiding factor for what you want in it, or do you guys just leave it to them and to figure out and then have a conversation after to...
No, it's got to be standardised. Standardised means you can easily digest it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Any other questions? No? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, wait, sorry. Wait. One more. Go. Last one. Sorry, dude.
I realized that from my experience of also being in the military, I know exactly what an after-action report is.
Yeah.
I don't think you went down through a breakdown on what exactly it is. Can you explain like the different steps for people who wouldn't understand what it is?
Yeah,
and
sure.
like how to go about it?
Yeah, sure. After-action report can take on many different flavours. What you need to identify is things that happen, things that you expected to happen, things you expected not to happen, and how you're going to fix those things. Don't kiss. Keep it stupid. No, keep it simple, stupid. Okay? Just a basic format. Doesn't matter how you do it. Doesn't matter how it looks, as long as it's easy to digest. Yeah, mate. I'm sorry.
So, great talk, man.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
In your own experience, obviously being, an FC, you're exposed to a lot of different backgrounds, nationalities, personality types. Some are hard asses, some are more passive. How do you improve buy-in for everybody with different personality types? Because people have different carrots, people have different sticks, people have different ways of being motivated. How have you personally been able to motivate your teams to get to the goal?
Not so much from an FC point of view, but in life. Mm-hmm. So if I told you had to get in a hauler, carry your fuel, put it in a system, put it in a gate and move away, what would you think about that? Pretty boring.
I'd say why. I'd ask why.
Pretty boring. If I said to you, you and I, need to ensure the safe passage of our entire alliance. We're going to move $6.3 million real currency of ships through this gate. So what we need to do is I need you to get in this ship. I need you to keep that thing going because without you, this doesn't work. Mm-hmm.